Good day, students. Welcome to the lecture on the questionnaire that we developed for measuring the impact of the Kliptown Youth Program. Now, you will have hopefully by now watched the focus group DVD, and in the focus group DVD you will have seen the different factors that were identified during the focus group, or the different measurements that the KYP management team would like to use in order to determine their impact on Kliptown. So you will see that when we get to the questions now, those questions are directly related to what we found during the focus group. Okay, so it's a 6-page questionnaire that has been developed. The first page is basically the background information. Then you need to get verbal consent from each participant. The verbal consent was chosen because of the fact that a lot of the people that you will be interviewing are probably illiterate, and we don't want to embarrass any of the participants. So the verbal consent, you ask them and you then sign, but we'll get to the detail now. Then there's some demographic information that you need to gather, followed by general questions that you ask everybody in the community that you meet, followed by questions that you only ask to people that have children that are KYP members, followed by the last page where if people's children are not members of KYP, you just ask them these 2 questions. Okay, so if I go back to the top of the survey, so the information on the study, it is important that you communicate all of this information to each household that is interviewed. I know it's boring, I know that you're going to repeat yourself through the day, but unfortunately it's important that each household that is interviewed knows the information over here. Alright, so you can tell them that I am the primary investigator together with Professor Carr from Massey University in New Zealand. And you can also tell them that you, as the students that are enrolled for the BTEC in Project Management, Project Research 4, are the data collectors. So you then invite them and ask them whether they would give you the time to explain the study to them. So you tell them what the study is about, the fact that Kliptown Youth Program has been running in Kliptown for the past 7 years, and that the purpose of the study is to determine whether KYP is making an impact in the community. Then you tell them that you basically need about 30 minutes of their time, and that they must please answer all the questions as honestly as possible. That the benefits in taking part in the study is that they will help KYP to improve their service in the Kliptown community, and also it will help you as students to obtain your BTEC degree, and also that research will be published on NGO youth projects. You also need to tell them that they may stop answering questions at any time without giving you a reason. So, you know, if they become uncomfortable about your questions, or if they run out of time or whatever, they can just tell you at any time that they want to stop now. Then you need to also tell them that we ask their names, but we're not going to tell anybody the names of the people that answered the questions. The answers to the questions will only be made available to the data gatherers and the researchers, and the data without the names of the participants will be made available to KYP unless you agree to have your name given to KYP. And you will see later on when we come to the consent form, there is a place where you will indicate yes or no, whether their name is allowed to be made available to KYP. KYP would like the names of the participants because they would like to see especially for their members, who the people are that have responded to the questionnaire and what they've said. But in the interest of comfort and or making the participants feel comfortable, and also in the interest of anonymity, we have to give the people that are replying to the questionnaire the choice. Right, then you can also tell them that the study has received ethics approval from the Faculty of Management Science Research Ethics Committee. The ethics number will be added to the questionnaires that you will be given on Saturday. And especially if they want to ask me something, you can give them my telephone number. And you can also tell them that they can report any unethical behavior at the university's toll-free hotline. So what I suggest is that you can then actually give each household this part of the questionnaire, so that if they want to contact the hotline or they want to contact me at another stage, they are able to do so. All right, so you take them through this. You don't have to read it word for word. You just have to make sure that all the information that is in here is conveyed to the participants. And then at the end, you tell them your cooperation in answering the questions is highly appreciated. And would you mind if we take 30 minutes of your time and continue with the questionnaire? If they then say yes, then you then ask their name, and you then print their name over here. So you write their name, you write your group number. Please remember that you must put evening or block. All right, and the last thing is the name of the person who is actually asking the question, because remember that although you're going in a group, one specific person in the group should ask the question at each house. So in other words, you can alternate, so the one person can ask at the one house and the next person at the next house, but then whoever specifically asks the question's name must be put here. The dates, of course, is the 10th of May, so that you can just put on all the forms. Then you ask them whether they are comfortable that we make their name available to KYP, and all that you put here is either yes or no. So that's all you need to put over there. Okay, so, and then of course you as the data gatherer has to sign to confirm that everything on this form is true. Right, then you start with the actual questions. So the first question is, how long have you been living in Kliptown? So they might tell you all my life, and then you ask them, well, approximately how long is that? So that might be 40 years or 60 years or whatever. They might also tell you 1 year and 6 months. In that case, write down 1 year and 6 months, because obviously the better or the closer that we have to the actual, the better. But if somebody says 60 years and 2 months, well, that's maybe not that important. But if it's less than 2 years, then the months is also important. Right, then the next thing is, what is the highest level of education that you have completed? So the options are some primary school education, so they finish grade 1 or grade 2 or grade 6 or so on. They completed primary school, that means they've completed grade 7. Some high school education, so maybe they went up to grade 9 or grade 10. Completed high school obviously means that they've completed matric, diploma or certificates or a degree. So those are the options that you get there. And basically you can either put a tick or color the thing in, or however is comfortable for you, as long as it's clear. Because remember, you are, after the data gathering, going to read the information into SurveyMonkey. So you have to capture it in a way that you will be able to see what the answer was afterwards. The other thing is that you will have to attach these questionnaires, these physical questionnaires. You need to scan them in and attach them to your data gathering assignment, so that I have copies of the actual questionnaires as well. Right, then the next one is easy. Are you currently employed? Yes or no. Have you heard about KYP? You can here, if you want to say Kliptown Youth Program as well, although that would be I think more unlikely, because they tend to talk about KYP. So if you say KYP and they say what, then you say no, the Kliptown Youth Program. And if they still say what, then obviously the answer is no. Okay, then the next question is, how many children do you have? So that's easy, 1, 2, 3. So we only want whole numbers over there. And the last demographic question is, are any of your children members of KYP? All right, so now you need to listen carefully. If the answer is yes, then it's simple. You just continue and you ask them the general questions for the community, and you also ask them the questions where kids are KYP members. All right. If the answer is no, it's a little bit more complicated, because you then ask them general questions for the community, and once you've done those, you skip the questions where kids are KYP members and you go straight to participants with kids that are not members of KYP. All right, so it's not that difficult, but you just have to keep your head and remember whether they said yes or no. Okay, and that's why there's more than 2 of you, or at least more than 1 of you, so that you can help each other to remember. Right, so if they have children that are so whether they have children that are members of KYP or not, you ask them general questions for the community. Okay, so with the one exception, it must only be asked community members that are aware of KYP. So if the participants answered no on have you heard about KYP, you basically terminate the interview over here. Okay, so maybe I can type here terminate interview. Okay. All right, so and if the people terminate the interview, then that doesn't really count as an interview. So you must then make sure that you do another one to replace the one that where they were not able to respond. Okay, so then you ask them, I have a good idea of what KYP does, and you say to them, to what extent do you agree with the following statements? So strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. And when we talk about questionnaire development, which is the next lecture that I will put on, you will see that that there are various ideas around whether to use a 4-scale Likert or a 5-scale Likert. I decided to use a 4-scale Likert in this study so that you don't get the central tendency. because what happens is if people don't really have an opinion or they don't know what their opinion is, what they will do is they will say neither agree nor disagree, and that's not really an answer. So we want them to either agree or disagree, or if they don't know, then you just tick here, I don't know about this. All right, but anybody that has said that they've heard about KYP, hopefully at least agrees here, or obviously they can also disagree if they're not quite sure on what KYP does. Right, then you ask them about whether computer classes at KYP are benefiting the community. Again, you need them to answer on the Likert scale. More people work due to the learnerships offered by KYP. More people work due to KYP helping them find jobs. KYP is offering support regarding HIV/AIDS. The crime rate in Kliptown has dropped since KYP started. The educational support at primary level benefits the community. All right, so if they don't understand that question, it's basically KYP has a tutoring program where they tutor grade 1 to 7 kids, and this is the primary level, is the grade 1 to 7 kids. Then the educational support at secondary level benefits the community. So that would be the kids from grade 8 to 12. So some people might not have an idea about the primary level because their kids are high school, and they might then say, I don't know. Or on the other hand, some might have kids at primary school level, but they don't know about high school level. So you might in any of these questions get I don't know. Okay, and remember, I don't know is also an answer, because if we tell KYP that there were 100 people that don't know about their learnerships, then that is also something for them to improve, because that means that their communication regarding learnerships, for example, is not very good. Okay, and then the educational support at tertiary level benefits the community, so the same story. KYP communicates what they do with the community. So there again, they have to agree, strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. And then the community trusts KYP. So that one is a very important question for KYP, and hopefully we will get a response either way over there. Right, then one of the programs that KYP has been trying to start up, but they're not really sure what exactly they should do, is the environmental problems. So by environmental problems, we mean things like starting gardens, or tidying or cleaning up the community, or that type of environmental, so to make the environments in Kliptown better. So here you basically just have to write down what the participant says. Okay, and when you write down what the participant says, it's a good idea to, once they've finished talking and you have finished writing, to say to them, okay, can I just read to you what you've written, so that we can just make sure that you agree with what I've written. Right, so if people do not have kids in KYP, after doing the general questions for the community, you then skip to the last page. So you then do question 14. But if they do have kids that are part of KYP, you then just go on to question 11. So the teenage pregnancy rate has decreased since KYP started. The community needs KYP. The KYP after school program benefits my children. The KYP team are good role models for my children. My child performs better at school since being fed by KYP. So here the focus is on the feeding scheme, because they have a feeding scheme where they feed the kids in the mornings and at lunchtime. So you have to put emphasis on the fact that the kids are being fed. KYP helps to meet my child's emotional needs. My child is more independent since joining KYP. The quality of educational support at KYP is good. My child has a better future as a member of KYP. The fact that the children are taken to different countries is changing their attitudes. Right, so this one, on the cultural programs, they have taken several of the children to China and France and Mauritius and the United States. So some parents might say, yeah, I don't know, because their children have not been taken. But some parents will also have an opinion because they've seen other children going and they've seen how their children have reacted to the other children going. Right, my child uses his or her computer with confidence. The KYP program has a 1 laptop per child project, and so with a 1 laptop per child, the kids actually get given a computer which they take home. And so this is the computers that we are talking about. So if the parent says, my kid doesn't have a computer, it might mean that the child is at high school, because this is only for the primary school children. So in that case, you then just say, I don't know. KYP has increased educational opportunities for my child. So that means that because the child is part of KYP, they will now be able to go to university or other tertiary institutions. I think that my child has better leadership potential after joining KYP. The KYP sports program motivates children to become professional athletes. Right, so this question is the question which KYP asked us to ask, and so it's about dreaming beyond. It's about inspiring the children and motivating the children to get out of their environment. Right, then KYP needs a better library. At the moment, they are busy building a better library, but we would like to know whether the parents agree with that. And then KYP should address environmental problems in Kliptown. And so on the previous questionnaire, you've asked which problems, but this is just to confirm that the people disagree or they agree on this statement. Right, then what changes have you seen in your child since he or she joined KYP? So this again is a dialogue, a narrative. So you need to write down what the person is saying to you, and again, once you've written it down, you read it back to them to confirm that what you have captured is correct. And the next one, what more can KYP do for the community, is the same thing. You need to write down what the person says. There you will see that if I make this to fit page, you will see that it's a relatively small space that's available over here. But what you can do is you can turn the page around and you can continue writing on the other side of the page, because I will print out the questionnaire single-sided. But just remember that if you do that, when you scan it in, you must make sure that you also scan in the side that you've written on, so that I have all the information. Okay, so that is then basically the questions where the kids are members of KYP. Then if the kids are members of KYP, this is then where you stop at page 5. And then participants with kids that are not members of KYP, you basically just ask them, I think that my child, to respond to the following statements. So I think that my child can benefit by joining KYP, and there you will get strongly disagree to strongly agree, and I will allow my child to join KYP. All right, so that's then, if the child is not a member of KYP, that's a lot shorter, the interview that you have to do, because you basically skip straight through to the last page. Right, so that is the questionnaire that you are going to be using and that you are going to be asking the community. I suggest that you sort of try and be organized and make sure that you know to which question you must jump once you have asked the first question. And so have you heard about KYP? If the answer is no, you terminate the interview. If they have no children that are members of KYP, you go to the next page, which is page 3, and then you jump to page 6. Okay, so let's maybe write it here. Type text. Go to page 3 and then to page 6. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. It's page 4. Right, and then for yes, we go to page 4 and then to page 5. Right, so that is then the questionnaire. You will be given 10 questionnaires per group on the day. Remember that if you are doing more questionnaires, you get extra marks. What I will do is I will make extra copies of the verbal consent and of the measuring the impact of the Kliptown Youth Program, so that you have extras of those for each extra interview that you do. And then for the questions, just have a pad with paper, and all you then do is you log. For 3, this is the answer. For 4, this is the answer, etc., etc. So I hope that makes sense. If you are really decided that you are going to do a lot more than 10, then you are also welcome to print out your own questionnaires. Okay, so that is the questionnaire. Then we also have a data collection plan, because remember that when we collect data, we have to make sure that we are as probabilistic as possible. So we want to be as random as possible, and we don't want to ask people that, or we don't want anybody to say that we only asked the people that we knew would give us a good answer. All right. So on the day, each group will have a KYP volunteer that will go with you. Some of them will be high school students, some of them will be of the KYP management team, and they will go with you from house to house and introduce you and help you to find houses and help you to find people. But it is your responsibility to make sure that you are selecting houses in a random manner. So if they try and guide you only to specific houses, tell them no, we want to stop and ask here as well. Okay, so this is going to be cold canvassing, in the sense that the people don't know that we are coming. But because you have a member of KYP with you, you have somebody from the community with you. Right, so the data collection plan basically looks as follows. what I did was I downloaded a satellite image of the Kliptown area. So this is the whole Kliptown area. And what I've done is I've tried to indicate how data gathering is going to take place. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in. So we will all gather and meet at KYP, which is approximately here on this satellite map. And then for group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I will then take you with my 4x4 and I will go and drop you and your KYP representative off in the spots that are indicated on the map. So you guys are going to be on the outside, on the outskirts of Kliptown, and according to KYP, most of their members are close to where KYP is situated. So group 1 to 6 will be talking to mostly people whose kids are not members of KYP. All right, I haven't got all the information yet on the survey in terms of who is going on Saturday and which groups will be there on Saturday. So I will probably only be able to tell you by Friday which group is group 1. All right, because remember there's an evening group 1 and there's a block group 1. But I will tell you by Friday whether I'll probably start either with evening or with block and then just allocate numbers randomly to the groups. All right, so that's group 1 to 6. Then the other groups will start at KYP as indicated over here, and you will then walk in the direction indicated by the line, and you will then, on that path that is indicated, you will then select 10 houses where you will conduct the interviews. All right, and once again we will decide on Friday who is group 7, 8, 9, 10 to 16. Okay, and then the data gathering plan is basically that you are required to complete at least 10 interviews, and you will be dropped off as indicated on the map. And then you will interview as follows. So group 1 to 6, because you are being dropped off on the outskirts, you will only interview households that are not KYP members. All right, because the non-KYP members are mostly on the outskirts. Then group 7 to 16, you then have to interview 2 households that are not KYP members and 8 households that are KYP members. Right, so this is to make sure that we have randomized sampling and to make sure that at the end of the day we have 80 questionnaires from non-KYP members and we have 80 questionnaires from KYP members, because that then gives us the ability to actually compare what the different households had to say. All right, and then once you've finished your first 10 interviews, group 1 to 8 will then focus on non-KYP members. So group 1 to 8, you then have to make sure that you then don't interview any more KYP members. And group 9 to 16, you then focus on interviewing KYP members. Right, so I hope that that is clear. Please, if you have any questions, you are welcome to email me. You are also welcome to ask me on Saturday, because we will be meeting at TUT at 7:30, which means that we will be at KYP at 8:30, and then at from about 8:30 to 9, we will just have a quick briefing. So I will hand out the questionnaires. We will assign KYP representatives to each group, and we will then have a discussion on any problems or any questions that you want to ask at that stage. Okay, so thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for participating in this project, and I really hope that we all have a lot of fun on Saturday. Goodbye.